As determined and inquisitive as she is mysterious, Mabel Mora is the glue that holds the Only Murders in the Building podcast together.
We need you. You're the glue.
And Selena Gomez, the actress who plays her, does the same for the show itself. She brings her own brand of humor, beauty, and style to the show, and adds to the long-standing dynamic between the two other leads, Steve Martin and Martin Short, who have worked together for decades.
Marty and I already had a relationship because we worked together for years, but Selena was an unknown.
I'm really lucky. I feel like I'm a part of the group.
But playing Mabel has done a lot for Selena, too. It's her first meaty adult role, and it's making a new audience sit up and take notice of her. Here's our take on Mabel, how Selena brought her to life, and the way they're more alike than you might have realized. Mabel is such an integral part of the Only Murders trio, it's hard to imagine that she wasn't always meant to be there. But in fact, the original plan for the show was quite different. When Steve Martin first dreamed up Only Murders in the Building, the main characters were all old men.
I just had this thought over 10 years ago, and it was for 3 older guys who live in a building in New York who just realize they have a common interest in solving crime.
But as the idea developed, it became apparent that they needed more perspectives to bring some additional spark and relatability to the show. So they landed on the idea of bringing a younger female lead to share the spotlight with old friends Martin and Short. And that's where Gomez came in. Showrunner John Hoffman was quoted in Vanity Fair saying, "How do we take these two legendary classic comedians and then put them up against the clash of something New York, being modern now and finding that classic meets modern all around New York?" Once Selena Gomez was brought up, it was just like, oh, that was really the light bulb moment.
Why else would I be here?
To support, to give notes, to translate what the young people say.
Mabel brings a youthful vibe to the show and is able to offer up a viewpoint that is very different from her two older friends. The juxtaposition adds to the show's humor while also showcasing a heartwarming cross-generational bond that we don't often get to see on TV. The initial reactions to Gomez's casting weren't all favorable, with many reviewers speculating that she'd been cast in a blatant attempt to appeal to a younger audience. Layla Latif at The Guardian said that casting Gomez initially seemed like stunt casting, or a cynical ploy to give the show cross-generation appeal.
How old are you two? 80?
I'll have you know that I am in my very early mid-60s.
But since the show premiered in 2021, the trio has become a firm fan favorite. Latif went on to say that Gomez makes up a career-best comedy trio with Martin and Short. And it's true. She gives Mabel beauty, calm, and deadpan delivery, which works perfectly in contrast with Martin's uptight particular Charles, and Short's flamboyant, excitable Oliver.
Where are you going to be while we interview a murderer?
Oh, just producer stuff. Boring. Good luck.
What the shit was that?
While Gomez began her career as a child actor, her surprise success at music threatened to overshadow her acting career. But with Only Murders, critics and audiences alike are finally starting to appreciate her acting chops. She plays the complex character of Mabel with nuance, drawing out more difficult elements of her personality, like her vulnerability and loneliness. In season 2, she deftly performed Mabel's deep conflict and confusion around Bunny's murder, the genuine terror that she could have unknowingly had something to do with it, underpinned by the tragic backstory of her father's death, the trauma of which caused her memory loss.
That was when I lost my first memory, when I was afraid to see what really happened, or what I had possibly done.
Much of Mabel's characterization was down to Gomez. She says she had a lot of input into Mabel, shaping the way she responds to people and events.
From the beginning, they were open to the idea of me being a part of creating Mabel.
What's more, her effortless cool has made Mabel a fashion icon. Mabel's look is a carefully studied portrait of contemporary New York style, to the extent that in 2022, British Vogue added her to an elite list of New York fashion icons that included Holly Golightly and Carrie Bradshaw. That Gomez is able to bring so much to Mabel isn't surprising given the amount that the pair have in common.
I loved playing Mabel. I'm very similar to the character.
Like Gomez, Mabel grew up an only child in a low-income single-parent family with a protective mom.
My mom worked several jobs. She had me when she was 16.
And in terms of their personalities, both Gomez and Mabel find it difficult to trust people at first. Gomez told the UK's Sunday Times newspaper, "Being standoffish is not foreign to me. Most of the time, I don't trust a lot of people," which resonates with what we know of Mabel. As a character, she can come off as harsh because she puts up such firm boundaries so she doesn't get hurt.
This whole thing was stupid anyways. I'm a stranger that lied to you a bunch, and you're two randos that dragged me into a podcast.
So Gomez brings a whole lot to the character of Mabel, but there's an unusual symbiosis between the actress and her character, in that Mabel brings a lot to Gomez, too. Post-Disney, Gomez starred in a few high-profile projects in which she attempted to shake off her Disney kid image, namely a supporting role in Harmony Korrine's Spring Breakers in 2012. But given her sweet face and generally kind demeanor, she found it hard to move into more adult roles.
I felt like it was very difficult for people to take me seriously. I have slowly pushed through that, and I'm really glad, but it was very frustrating.
Even her role in Spring Breakers wasn't that much of a change of pace. Faith was still a goody two-shoes that went home before the craziest events of the film kicked off. She did, however, find major success in pop music. Music allowed her to explore new sides of herself, but she always referred to acting as her true passion.
Music was so much of my life for years, and I felt like I could take some time for my true love, which is, film and TV.
Being unable to get people to take her seriously as an actress for years led her to worry that she'd never be able to find that one role that could really change people's minds. Only Murders, with its all-star cast, proved to be a turning point for her. But even then, she noted that she was surprised that people loved her on the show and were finally taking her seriously.
How have you enjoyed the response?
Personally,
fantastic.
I think I don't know, I was shocked.
You were shocked?
Yeah.
Shocked that people enjoyed your show?
You
thought they would hate us?
Yeah, a little bit.
She quickly began generating awards buzz, with people saying this was the best acting she'd ever done.
Many people are saying, Selena, this is your career's best. What do you think of that?
I'm sweating, but I'm really, really honored, honestly.
And her veteran actor co-stars sang her praises, speaking about her on-screen brilliance and the way she provided a foil to the chaos of their characters.
Marty and I would often ride home together, and no kidding, we would talk about how great Selena is. And
Really?
I've said it before, what a relief it is when Selena comes on the screen.
When she was snubbed for an acting Emmy in 2022, Martin told Variety, "We're a little dismayed that Selena didn't get nominated because she's so crucial to the trio, to the show. She kind of balances us. In fact, in some ways, you can say that we got nominated because of her balance in the show." Gomez has been open about the fact that the show has changed her life in wonderful ways.
I'm very lucky that they picked me. This has changed my life for the better.
And has spoken about how working with Martin and Short is helping her to develop as a comedic actress. Being on the show also means she's been able to work with other acting and comedy icons, a glittering roster of guest stars from Amy Schumer and Paul Rudd to Meryl Streep. In addition to finally giving her the adult acting career she had longed for, playing Mabel also seems to have given Gomez some new insights into herself and what she wants in real life. After difficult past relationships, Gomez has spoken candidly about how having a friendship with Martin and Short has raised her expectations for herself when it comes to finding a partner.
I think in general, my standards for humor and gentlemen, the bar's been lifted pretty high working with these two.
Watching Mabel grow and change over the seasons of Only Murders, finding herself and taking control of her life, is at the heart of the show. And seeing how the character is helping Gomez achieve her own goals in real life adds a special layer to the beloved series. Only Murders in the Building's third season is off to a great start and is getting rave reviews. And it looks like there are some big storylines on the horizon for Mabel, which will be a great chance for Gomez to continue to spread her acting wings. Show co-creator John Hoffman said of Mabel, "We learn at the end of episode 1 that she's not going to stay in the Arconia much longer. And it just puts a heightened focus on this woman who's facing 30 and looking at her life."
You know how it is, being our age in New York. You have to hustle if you want to make it here.
Right. Well, that must be hard, juggling everything.
This season sees her facing a big new personal challenge, moving on, both from the life she's built and the literal building, and figuring out what she really wants to do with her life. She wants to be a designer, but realizes that that isn't an easy path. So, just like Gomez, she'll have to fight to create the life she wants for herself. Gomez has been vocal about what she wants to do next, too.
I want to work with a David Fincher or a David O. Russell, who will push me to the edge to go and fight for something. That's the kind of acting that I crave to do more than anything.
If anyone is primed for a part to sink her teeth into, it's a post-Mabel Mora Selena Gomez. We can't wait to see where her new confidence takes her. That's the take. Click here to watch the video we think you'll love, or here to check out a whole playlist of awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications.